What are you making, Mashana?
Caramel.
What you saw right now was a dangerous way of caramelizing sugar, and if you want to learn the right technique of how to caramelize sugar, then stick around. I'll be showing it to you right away. Essentially, there are two ways of caramelizing sugar. One is the dry method and the other one is the wet method. And which method you're going to choose depends upon the application that you're going to use it for. There are certain techniques where you will have to decide upon which application you're going to use it for. For instance, if you're using the caramelized sugar for making of candies or ganaches or confectionery items, then you will have to follow the recipe that has been guided. As in, if in case the recipe calls for a dry caramel, you will have to make a dry caramel. If the recipe calls for a wet caramel, you'll have to make wet caramel. But for products like creme caramel and the caramel sauce, it doesn't matter which technique you use. You can either use a dry or a wet method. It's left up to you. It's based on the ease with which you can make it. There are a few tips and techniques that I will be giving you to make easy caramel or caramelize your sugar the easiest way. Firstly, make sure that all your equipments and tools are ready with you, right beside you. Do not fetch it at the last moment. That's very important. The second thing that you have to note is the quality of the ingredients. If you are choosing sugar, you'd rather go in for a little fine grain sugar when compared to a larger grain sugar. It's basically because the large grains take a lot of time for it to melt. Thirdly, learn how to control the temperature or the heat in the saucepan. Fourthly, make sure that you're using a wooden ladle, not a steel ladle, for mixing or making of your caramel. Next is ensure that you're using a very heavy sauce bottom fan. Make sure that the steel that you're using is quite heavy, as in it will bear the temperature of the sugar that is melting. In case you're working in bigger operations, we also have a lot of sugar that we have to caramelize at one time. So in case you have a lot of portion of sugar that you have to caramelize at one time, make sure that you're doing portion by portion. Ensure that you're stirring the sugar inside of the saucepan not so frequently. Try and avoid stirring of the sugar once it has started to melt. Ensure that the saucepan is warm enough before you add your sugar. Start sprinkling the sugar portion by portion all around the saucepan, forming a thin bed of sugar. Wait for the bottom of the pan to heat up the sugar and start melting it before you slowly nudge the sugar to get it caramelized. In case the sugar has splashed towards the side of the saucepan, dip a brush in water, pastry brush in water, and slowly brush the sides. Avoid using a spatula to stir the sugar that is melting into a caramel. There you go, a nice deep amber color caramel. We now start with making the wet caramel. Add sugar into the saucepan, followed by water. You can also brush the sides of the saucepan in case you have sugar spurting towards the sides of the saucepan. And there you have a lovely caramel that you can use for most of your recipes. I guess by now you guys would have gained a good insight about how you caramelize sugar and how you make different forms of caramel. And I hope that you stick around for more such videos on baking and pastry in future. Thank you.